A year ago, my friend got into a car accident, and due to her injuries, she was hospitalized for almost 8 months. When I went to visit her, she told me about what had happened. She was driving one night at around 11 o'clock. As she slowly passed the empty intersection, suddenly another car just ran into her vehicle from the side. The driver who caused the accident was a 17-year-old boy, accompanied by several of his other friends. The police report later revealed that this teenage boy and his friends had been drinking a little prior to the accident and was fooling around in the car with his friends while driving. Because he was too distracted to see the light turning red, he just drove on, causing this big accident. According to DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, for both men and women, drivers aged 16 to 19 have the highest annual crash and traffic violation rates than any other age group. Today I would like to demonstrate the grave threat posed by teenage drivers and propose what we should do to decrease the annual accidents made by them. Now I would like you to take a look at some of the factors that make teenage drivers dangerous. There are many crash risk factors that make teenagers vulnerable to accidents. Teenagers have poor hazard detection skills and low risk perception. The ability to detect hazards in the driving environment depends upon perceptual and information gathering skills and involves properly identifying stimuli as potential threats. However, it takes time for young novice drivers to acquire this ability. According to an article written by Ray Massey, the frontal lobe, the part that controls emotion, risk-taking, and decision-making, is not fully developed as a teenager. This research was carried out by Robert Eiler, director of the Traffic and Road Safety Research Group at the University of Waikato in New Zealand. Because teenagers lack hazard detection skills and have low risk perception, they like risk-taking driving. They tend to take more risks while driving, partly due to their overconfidence in their driving abilities. Young novice drivers are more likely to engage in risky behaviors such as speeding, tailgating, running red lights, violating traffic signals, making illegal turns, passing dangerously, and failing to yield to pedestrians. Also, teenagers tend to wear seatbelts less often than older drivers. According to Traffic Safety Facts published in the year of 2008, quote, teens have lower seatbelt use rates than the adult driving population, and failure to use a seatbelt is typical of teen crash fatalities. Driving under the influence of alcohol and/or drugs is also a common cause of serious crashes, especially fatal ones involving teenage drivers. Teenage drunk driving kills 8 teens every day. 40% of alcohol-related fatal car crashes involve teens. This number is higher than the fatality rate of drunk driving involving adult drivers, which is reported to be 37%. The problem of seatbelts comes into this category again. In the year of 2005, 3 out of 4 teen drivers killed in motor vehicle crashes after drinking and driving were not wearing a seatbelt. Teenagers seem to think that they look more impressive when they are driving a car, and they like to show dangerous driving to their friends to show that they're excellent drivers. Driving with friends and passengers increases the potential for accidents for teen drivers. According to teenage driver crash statistics for teenagers, the risk of being in a crash increases when they transport passengers. Also, the fatality risk of drivers aged 16 to 17 years is 3.6 times higher when they are driving with passengers than when they are driving alone. And the relative risk of a fatal crash increases as the number of passengers increases. Now there's another question we should ask ourselves. Is it safe to drive at night? Night driving increases the risk of accidents. The per-mile crash rate for teenage drivers is 3 times higher after 9 p.m. This is because night driving is more difficult, and the teenagers have less experience driving at night than during the day. Also, driving under the influence of alcohol is more likely to occur at night. Here is a table that shows the accidents occur mostly at nighttime between 8 p.m. and 4 a.m. Also, here is a chart that shows the age groups and their rate of car accidents. Teenagers of 16 to 19-year-olds look to have the highest crash rates. So what can we do to prevent these accidents and prevent teens from dying every day? Let's take a look at what we could do for each of the dangerous factors that I just mentioned. Providing proper driver's education will be one way to prevent these dangerous accidents caused by immaturity and inexperience of teenage drivers. Sources tell us that immaturity and inexperience are primary factors contributing to the deadly crashes. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration (NHTSA) developed a licensing system that would prolong the learning process for young novice drivers. This program consists of 3 stages, and young drivers are required to demonstrate responsible driving behavior at each stage of licensing before they can advance to the next level. This program has been proven to be effective to assist teenagers in gaining experience before heading out onto the big road alone, reducing the rate of car crashes. For failure to use seatbelts, enhanced seatbelt reminder (ESCR) systems are one approach to improve seatbelt use, which is a significant concern for teenagers. Many automobile manufacturers are now voluntarily installing ESCR systems in new vehicle models. ESCRs can improve the use of seatbelts in 2 ways. They can remind forgetful people to buckle up. Also, they can motivate reluctant drivers to buckle their seatbelts in order to avoid or terminate undesired signals. For drinking and driving, more education, increased awareness, and harsher penalties would be the best combination for its prevention. Moreover, creating a sense of social responsibility in teenagers could further reduce drinking and driving instances in the future. Also, parents can restrict nighttime driving for their children and make them come home by 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. Parents and local governments should cooperate to limit the number of teen passengers who travel with teenage drivers. Driving with friends and passengers are also equally dangerous for teenagers. Because teenagers are likely to get distracted by passengers, parents should limit the number of passengers that their children can have in the car. The government could also act on this too. For example, 31 states and the District of Columbia limit teen passengers for teen drivers. This law has been proven to be effective to reduce the number of car accidents caused by teenagers. There are many factors that cause risk for teen drivers, and many teens are dying from car accidents every day. Teenagers may not be ready for such dangerous tasks and may be thinking that driving is not a big deal. By getting proper education and being watched by families and friends, teenagers can avoid these accidents and reduce the death toll of teen deaths in the United States.